The stale scent of instant coffee clung to the air, a smell that had always been comforting until today. Tobias, a structural engineer in Birmingham, Alabama, found myself staring at my laptop screen, the harsh blue light illuminating the growing dread in my eyes. It had started as a harmless question, a simple "Hey, can you help me with this spreadsheet?" from my wife, Jeline. I'd always been the tech-savvy one, ever since we met at that robotics competition back in college. But this time something felt off. Jeline, a talented architect, had been working late a lot recently, claiming a massive project at her firm, Evergreen Designs, was demanding all her attention. I'd been supportive, making dinner, handling the household chores, trying to ease her burden. I believed her implicitly. We were a team, after all, or so I thought. The spreadsheet was supposed to be a budget proposal, but as I scrolled through the seemingly endless rows and columns, I stumbled upon a hidden sheet. It was password protected, but after a few tries, my old hacking skills from my college days kicked in and I cracked it. What I found there wasn't numbers or budgets, it was a series of emails. Emails between Jeline and a man named Barnaby. My heart hammered against my ribs as I read the first few lines. They were innocuous enough: project updates, design critiques. But as I scrolled further, the tone shifted. The language became flirtatious, then suggestive, then explicit. My hands began to tremble so violently that I could barely hold the laptop steady. "Barnaby, I can't stop thinking about last night," one email read. "That kiss in the elevator, I felt like I was melting." Another: "Jeline, seeing you across the conference table drives me crazy. I want you here now." The words swam before my eyes, each one a dagger twisting in my gut. Barnaby. Who the hell was Barnaby? A quick Google search revealed him to be Barnaby Clancy, a senior partner at Evergreen Designs, Jeline's boss. The realization hit me like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. I spent the next few hours in a daze, rereading the email, searching for some explanation, some sign that I was misinterpreting things. But there was no denying the truth. Jeline was having an affair with her boss, and she had been lying to me for weeks, maybe months. The anger started to simmer, a slow burn that threatened to consume me. How could she do this to me? Had our marriage meant nothing to her? We had built a life together, a home, a future. We had talked about having children, about growing old together. All those dreams, all those plans shattered. When Jeline finally came home that evening, she looked tired but happy. She breezed through the door, her face lighting up when she saw me. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" she asked, pecking me on the cheek. I recoiled slightly, the casual intimacy feeling like a grotesque mockery. "It was interesting," I managed to say, my voice tight. She frowned. "What's wrong? You look pale." I wanted to scream, to lash out, to confront her with the evidence I had found. But something held me back. I needed to be calm, to think clearly. I couldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment. I found something on your laptop," I said, my voice barely a whisper. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of apprehension crossing her face. "What do you mean?" I took a deep breath. "I saw the emails, Jeline, the emails between you and Barnaby." The color drained from her face. She stared at me, speechless, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and guilt. "Tobias, I interrupted, holding up my hand. "Don't even try to deny it. I read everything." Tears welled up in her eyes. "It just happened," she stammered. "I didn't mean for it to." I repeated, my voice rising. "You didn't mean to betray me. You didn't mean to lie to me. You didn't mean to destroy our marriage." She started to sob, burying her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry, Tobias. I truly am. It was a mistake. A stupid, awful mistake." "A mistake?" I scoffed. "This wasn't a mistake, Jeline. This was a deliberate choice. You chose to sleep with another man, to deceive me, to break my heart." The next few days were a blur of anger, tears, and accusations. Jeline begged for forgiveness, promising to end the affair, to do whatever it took to win back my trust. But the damage was done. The foundation of our marriage had been shattered, and I didn't see how we could ever rebuild it. I moved into the guest room, the physical distance mirroring the emotional chasm that had grown between us. I stopped eating, barely slept, and spent my days lost in a haze of grief and anger. I confided in my best friend, Jasper, a landscape architect with a calming demeanor and a knack for dispensing sage advice. "You need to take care of yourself, Tobias," Jasper said, his voice gentle but firm. Don't let her destroy you. You deserve better than this. His words resonated with me. I realized that I couldn't let Jalene's actions define me. I had to find a way to move on, to reclaim my life. I started by focusing on my work. I threw myself into my projects, working late into the night, finding solace in the intricate designs and complex calculations. It was a distraction, a way to escape the pain, but it also reminded me of my own worth, my own capabilities. Meanwhile, I started gathering information about Barnaby Clancy. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story than just a simple affair. I suspected that Barnaby was using his position at Evergreen Designs to engage in some shady dealings, and I was determined to expose him. Using my tech skills, I delved into Evergreen's financial records, uncovering a series of suspicious transactions. Barnaby had been diverting funds into offshore accounts, skimming money from the company's profits. It was a complex scheme, but I was able to piece it together, gathering irrefutable evidence of his fraudulent activities. I presented my findings to the other partners at Evergreen Designs, laying out the evidence in a clear and concise manner. They were shocked and appalled, immediately launching an internal investigation. Barnaby was suspended and eventually fired, his reputation in tatters. Jalene was devastated. Not only had she lost her lover, but she had also been complicit in his crimes, albeit unknowingly. Her career was in jeopardy, and she faced the prospect of being ostracized by her colleagues. I could have gloated, reveled in her downfall, but I didn't. I felt nothing but a cold, empty void. Her suffering didn't bring me any satisfaction. It didn't erase the pain she had inflicted on me. I filed for divorce, the legal proceeding swift and painless. Jalene didn't contest it, knowing that she had forfeited any right to my love or loyalty. We divided our assets, sold our house, and went our separate ways. In the aftermath of the divorce, I felt lost and adrift. I had spent so many years building a life with Jalene, and now I had to start over. I decided to take a break from work, to travel, to explore new horizons. I booked a flight to Iceland, a land of stark beauty and untamed landscapes. I spent weeks hiking through glaciers, soaking in hot springs, and marveling at the northern lights. The solitude and the natural beauty helped me to heal, to find a sense of peace and perspective. One evening, while sitting in a small cafe in Reykjavik, I met a woman named Bellamy. She was a marine biologist, studying the effects of climate change on the Arctic ecosystem. We struck up a conversation, and I was immediately drawn to her intelligence, her passion, and her infectious enthusiasm. We spent the next few days exploring Iceland together, sharing stories and laughing. I found myself opening up to her, telling her about my broken marriage, my betrayal, and my journey to healing. She listened with empathy and understanding, offering me a fresh perspective on love and loss. Bellamy didn't try to fix me or to offer easy answers. She simply accepted me for who I was, flaws and all. And in her presence, I felt a glimmer of hope, a sense that maybe, just maybe, I could find love again. When it was time for me to leave Iceland, I felt a pang of sadness. I knew that our paths might never cross again, but I would always cherish the time we had spent together. Back in Birmingham, I started to rebuild my life. I bought a small condo downtown, furnished it with modern and minimalist decor, and focused on my career. I still thought about Jalene from time to time, but the pain had faded, replaced by a sense of closure. One day, I received a letter from Jalene. It was handwritten, the ink smudged in places as if she had been crying. In the letter, she apologized for her actions, expressing her deep remorse for the pain she had caused me. She admitted that she had made a terrible mistake and that she would always regret it. She also revealed that Barnaby had been charged with fraud and embezzlement, and that she had been called to testify against him. She was facing legal repercussions, and her career was effectively over. I read the letter with a mixture of pity and detachment. I couldn't forgive her completely, but I also couldn't harbor any ill will towards her. She had made her choices, and she was now facing the consequences. I never responded to her letter. I didn't see any point in reopening old wounds. I had moved on, and she needed to do the same. Years passed. I continued to work as a structural engineer, designing buildings and bridges, contributing to the growth and development of my city. I dated occasionally, but I never found anyone who could truly capture my heart. Then, one day, I received an email from Bellamy. She was coming to Birmingham for a conference, and she wondered if I would be free to meet for coffee. My heart skipped a beat. I replied immediately, saying that I would be delighted to see her. When we met, it was as if no time had passed. We talked for hours, catching up on each other's lives. I learned that she had continued her research in the Arctic, and that she had become a leading expert in her field. We spent the next few days exploring Birmingham together, visiting museums, parks, and restaurants. I found myself falling for her all over again, drawn to her intelligence, her kindness, and her unwavering optimism. Before she left, I took her to the top of the tallest building in the city, overlooking the sprawling skyline. I took a deep breath and confessed my feelings for her. "Bellamy," I said, my voice trembling slightly, "I know it's been a long time, but I can't stop thinking about you." "I think I'm in love with you," she smiled, her eyes sparkling with affection. "I think I'm in love with you too, Tobias," she said. And so I found love again in the most unexpected of places. I learned that betrayal doesn't have to define you, that you can overcome heartbreak and find happiness again. It may take time, and it may be painful, but it is possible to rebuild your life, to find new love, and to create a future that is even brighter than the one you lost. Sometimes the greatest betrayals lead us to the most unexpected blessings. And sometimes the most painful endings are just the beginning of a new and beautiful chapter.